Okay, hey everyone, it's day 5 of posting every day until I move to California. So today's makeup look is a little different. So I went ahead and did kind of like a Thanksgiving makeup instead of my normal pulling a card and recording the process as I talk about a card. But I decided why not share another story instead. I wanted to share the story of like how I found out I was a medium and like how I knew I was a medium, and it all started when I was like around like 5 or 6. I lived in like a really old like Civil War like area on the East Coast, and I was always finding like all kinds of like relics from that time period and like things related to soldiers and like medicine and all like medicine bottles and all kinds of stuff you normally find washed up places. I would always bring it into my mom and be like, "Oh, look what I found out as I was digging a hole in the forest today." um, and after I started doing that, I noticed like the energy in my house pick up a little bit. Like my family would always hear like footsteps going up and down the stairs, and I would always like hear voices and see things. Like my TV would turn on and off in my room, and I had one of those box TVs with the antennas. So, those things always went static anyway, but like sometimes I'd wake up and it would be on static and I like would remember turning it off. And every time it's like I'd wake up in the middle of the night and just feel terrified and feel a presence. And yeah, it terrified me. And then one day, I woke up and I was like, okay, like I'm trying to leave my room because it's scary in there. I left my room, went down the hall, and was headed towards my mom's room at the time. And I turned around and I saw a full apparition of a like Civil War soldier in his uniform and everything. I saw the musket, I saw like the satchel and the colors and the buttons, like everything. He was like such like a vivid image in my mind. He literally turned and looked at me and went in my room. He was running. And then followed behind him was another soldier and a bullet, which I imagined is how he died. He was trying to show me how he died. Of course, I was like 6, 7 years old, no pun intended. And yeah, that was horrifying. And yeah, ever since then, I've been able to see spirits, occasionally talk to them when they want to talk to me. It's why I do tarot now, and it's why I share stories like this, because I know there are hundreds of other people like me. Whether you're like clairvoyant, whether you're a medium, whether you have like true sight, or sometimes if you just have really strong intuition and you feel things and you see things, and I don't know, like it's just such a weird thing to experience, because like some people go their whole lives without ever seeing a ghost or dealing with the stress of living with some sort of attachment. But I've been through many attachments and many spirits and many places and many things. And that's another reason why my content now is what it is, because if you've ever lived in like a haunted house, I feel like once you get out of it, it's like it's so hard to describe. It's like this cling to positivity that you don't want to get rid of, because you know what the opposite of positivity is, especially like in a home or in a space. Also makes you like super cautious, and like I don't know, it changes you a little bit, especially if you were a medium since a child and you didn't have anyone to kind of coach you or tell you, what you're seeing or feeling is real. And I know there are many people out there that are like, that's BS. Like, these things aren't true. Like, there's no such thing as ghosts. There's no such thing as monsters, etc., etc. Pause. There was a hair on my brush. But I don't know. I don't know. I like to challenge skeptics sometimes. For example, one of the people I used to associate with, they were pretty skeptical, and one day they were like, okay, well, tell me something to make me not skeptical. So I sat there for a minute and I kind of thought, and I just kind of reached into the abyss per se. And I was like, okay, well, what can I tell this person? Tell me what to tell her so that she, feels like, okay, maybe I am tapped in. And sometimes I hear, like, it depends on, like, how spirits want to communicate with you. Sometimes They just literally make you see things in your mind. Sometimes you just hear them. Sometimes they show you things. Sometimes they make you feel certain things, like make you relive events or emotions or feelings or, the cause of their death and all this other stuff. Sometimes it's just a chill down your spine. But I reached into the abyss and I said, okay, tell me what I should say to her to get her to believe me. And I heard GMAM. And I was like, okay, do you have someone in your family, like maybe a grandma or something? Do you have like a grandma or something and their name starts with the letter M? And they were like, okay, that's weird. And I was like, okay, well, maybe not first name, but like something about the letter M. And she said, yeah, my grandma's last name starts with an M. And I was like, there you go. And mind you, I had never met her grandma. I didn't even know her last name and was only informed after that moment. I had no idea prior. And yeah, made a believer out of her for sure. But I don't know, sometimes it's fun just to tap in or just be receptive and just kind of open to something tapping in. But from my experience, like, if you do it for a living, kind of like I do, to an extent, constantly communicating with the higher power, like with spirits and, the higher version of myself, it's really, I mean, people always tell you make sure you have like protections against, stuff, make sure you're well versed in what to do and what not to do in the spirit world, and that's pretty true. Um, I can give like a rundown on another video maybe tomorrow about like do's and don'ts. But yeah, moral of the story is I've been in the spirit game a long time. And of course, there are some mediums out there that'll tell you, oh, people who use tarot cards, it's all heebie jeebie, it's not real, and, don't mess with the shadow people, aka people who have mediumship ability. And some people, sometimes when I do stuff out and about, they'll come up to my booth where I'm doing live reads and they'll be like, oh, I'm too scared, I don't want to know my future. And I'm always like, no, I can't tell you your future. I can only tell you what's happening in your own mind right now, and then I can tell you essentially what that means and what you should do with it. That's all it is. Not scary. But here we are, end of the makeup look and end of story time, and this leaves things unfinished, so I'll see you tomorrow. Period. Bye.